The rideshare dropped him at an address I didn't know. I waited at the curb. Hook. The text said your driver has ARRIVED, and the little map dot drifted to a block I couldn't name. It wasn't the restaurant, he said, and it wasn't our door. I only got the alert because the app is on our shared account, leftover convenience from a year when we thought friction was the enemy. Under the dot, drop-off complete 12:38 a.m. The timestamp made the ceiling feel low. My name is Adrian. I'm 35. I write copy that teaches money to call itself a companion. My husband is Theo. He designs stages and teaches rooms to hold their breath until strangers feel like main characters. 4 years married, we've become virtuosos of decency. Coffee where a hand will find it, the good glasses even for water, a kiss in the doorway calibrated to keep trains on time. We are less disciplined about heat. We keep scheduling it for when the quarter calms down. At 12:51, I was in a rideshare of my own, telling the driver the cross streets like an apology. The address was a brick building that had recently learned to be expensive. A rooftop party leaked sound and the self-esteem of people who mistake altitude for permission. The doorman wore a smile that knows more than it receives. Residents only, he said, and then he looked at my face and added, or friends with good timing. He pressed the elevator button like a witness. The roof was a diagram of ambition, string lights, hireable laughter, glasses that wanted Instagram to forgive them. I moved through pockets of perfume and future toward the far side where the city was trying to kneel. Theo stood with his back to me, sleeves rolled to that violent degree statutes should consider, a glass in one hand and the other on the railing like he could steady the earth. The man beside him leaned in with the mouth daylight forgets it has rules for. I arrived to the conversation as if it had summoned me. Theo turned and did the wreckage I trust him for, no rehearsal, just the truth's first chord finding his face. The other man straightened. He had a white shirt open one button past law-abiding, a tie in his pocket like a moral he meant to reconsider, a face that would be forgiven under fluorescent light and worshipped under anything warmer. He didn't offer a hand. That saved us both work. I'm Miles, he said. Adrian, I said, not saying nice to meet you because it was. His eyes stayed where dignity lives. Do you want me to leave? He asked, which is still the sexiest sentence a stranger can say when he means it. Yes, I said. Thank you, I added, because my mother is a religion and I won't renounce her at a rooftop party. He nodded once, brushed past with heat polite enough to be weather, and touched Theo's knuckles with 2 fingers, punctuation, not claim. The elevator swallowed him like a sentence that didn't need to be a paragraph. We didn't sit. We did a lap of the roof like civilians. The city did its affidavit, sirens practicing remorse, a bus deciding, cranes pointing to a future the present didn't believe. Near the catering table, Theo put his hand on my wrist and stopped moving. I kissed him, he said, because if he has one virtue I'll keep paying for, it's this. He refuses to audition his confession. Twice. Once because I wanted to be chosen without auditioning. Once because I wanted to hurt us hard enough to move. Both times I thought of you. Both times I kept going. Whose party is this? I asked. A donor, he said. The guy with the shirt. He builds sound systems for bars that want to hear themselves. We met at Loden for a benefit. He offered a drink, then a view, then a compliment that sounded like a decision. I wanted to believe I was brave. I settled for easy. I put my palm where it belongs, between his shoulder blades, pressing into the square that convinces lungs to remember their job. We kept it clean enough for the camera I could feel pretending not to exist, and explicit enough that the glass remembered we weren't saints. My mouth found the place under his jaw where my name has a lease and good standing. His breath did the thing where it stops being an argument and starts being grammar. "Take me downstairs," I said. "If we're going to end a scene, we do it without witnesses who confuse altitude for moral superiority." We rode the elevator with a couple who mistook us for an advertisement. The lobby made a sound like it knew secrets and kept them for a fee. Outside, the night had opinions and streetlights practicing humility. We walked the 12 blocks home because walking is the only liturgy that doesn't require a receipt. In our kitchen, I did the thing that has saved us before and will again. I pulled blue painter's tape from the drawer and made a square on the window. Above it, with the pencil that lives by the calendar, I wrote 807. 4 minutes of breath with his palm where breath listens. 3 minutes of inventory, 3 facts, 2 fears, 1 want. No prosecution. Water in the good glasses at 8:20 because small noises prevent large ones. We've invented this ritual, abandoned it, and crawled back to it like citizens. The trick is taking it seriously even when you don't deserve it. "Tomorrow," I said, "and tomorrow's tomorrow. If you miss 807, you make another 807 and knock with your hand." He nodded like a man accepting work he should have scheduled already. At 3:15, my phone buzzed a push alert no app has the decency to claim. Listen to 11 seconds of water. I sent present/bus stop. He replied present/loadout, which is theater for I'm up where the weight is, making sure nothing falls on you while you walk under it. At 6:02 the next evening, the doorbell cleared its throat. Through the peephole, white shirt, sleeves still criminal, a small brown bag in one hand like a prop he didn't want. I opened the door because peephole ethics is smug. Miles held up a leather card holder I'd given Theo last year, monogrammed like a joke. "He left this," he said. He kept his eyes up and his mouth uninciting. "Also, I'm out of the story." "Do you want me to leave?" he added, doubling down on the only charm I trust. "Yes," I said. "Thank you," I added, because hinge polishing comes with the house. He nodded and walked down the stairs like a man who knows what doors are for. At 8:07, the square did its job. Theo set his palm to the back of the heart and we breathed like obedient animals until my body forgave my mind for turning it into a courtroom. At 8:12, inventory. His facts were actual facts. He'd pulled his number from the donor's contact tree. He'd texted Miles not to come to any more loadouts. He'd blocked Thursday nights with a recurring event titled Make Heat AT Home, which is dramatic and useful. His fears were untheatrical, that he loves applause like oxygen and will forget the difference in a dark room, that my dignity will price me out of my own life. His want was my name used like a verb. Choose me at 8:07 and let me be worth it. We drank water like a sacrament for people who refuse to lie to the mirror but still want to survive it. The erotic part wasn't a rooftop or a white shirt rolled one button too far. It was a hand obeyed by breath. It was my mouth finding the place under his ear where our first language lives. It was the way he said my name at the window, blue like rent paid on time. It wasn't tidy. Twice that week he was late and the old monologue in my throat powdered its nose and asked for a microphone. I made it sit by the sink and listened to the refrigerator sermon on patience. Once, outside the theater, I saw Miles with a man whose earrings looked like punctuation. He lifted 2 fingers, whether not invitation. I answered in the same grammar. Spite is expensive. I intend to retire loved. We fought because staying requires arguments that fit in a kitchen without breaking glass. I asked why strangers, attention still dresses as oxygen in his chest. He asked why I polish dignity until it slips. I said I'm tired of writing copy for us that reads like compliance. He said he forgot he could ask me for noise. We traded short, heavy sentences until they did their jobs and didn't audition for better roles. The rideshare app emailed a recap. "Your weekend rides." I typed a reply I didn't send. "We're carpooling with breath now." I read it to him at 8:20 while the good glasses met with a click that sounded like a new alphabet. He kissed the hinge of my smile like feedback should always be taken physically. We made customs at the border of home. When one of us opens the door, he says, "I'm in," because present is sexier than sorry when it's honest. The hallway light is on a sensor now. It wakes when we break the air we pay for. If one of us must be late, he texts present place. The lock clicks like a paid witness. We tip it with mercy so it keeps telling the truth. One night he took me to the theater after loadout. The stage was a skeleton with a good attitude. He tuned a single work light until the boards looked like they had a pulse. "Walk with me," he said, which in our language means I want you to see my competence without applause. We climbed the catwalk where crews leave coffee cups like prayer candles. He placed my hand on a dimmer and taught me to turn slowly until the room confessed what it wanted. Clean. Explicit enough to teach steal our names. The security camera bowed and retired. Miles texted once more with a period doing admirable labor. "He's worth staying for. Make it expensive to quit." I replied, "We're charging time." He responded with a thumbs up that didn't try to be poetry. Relapses came like weather. A late message saved under a company, not a person. A morning when I answered his inventory with a joke and had to apologize with my mouth instead of my copy. Each time the tape caught us. Some nights we were saints of breath. Some nights the window forgave us for remembering what bodies are for. We kept the room decent enough for neighbors and explicit enough for furniture to feel used in a flattering way. People ask, in bathroom lines and elevator pauses and under misbehaving streetlights, who the villain was. They want me to say a man with forgiving wrists, or a rooftop with forgiving views, or a husband who outsourced urgency to ride shares and calendars. The truth humiliates us evenly, which is why it helps. The villain was the version of us that treated heat like an errand and romance like a feature. The miracle is repetitive and small. Knock on our own door. Say where we are, put a palm where breath listens, count to 60, try again. The erotic part wasn't 23 minutes in zone 4 or a map making adultery look like a jog. It was water in the good glasses clicking like a language we finally decided to learn. It was my name in his mouth at the windows blue. It was his palm on my back in public. Quick. Nothing for cameras. Everything for the animal in me who wants being found more than being guessed. 2 weeks later, the app offered to learn trusted locations. I entered one, here. The icon of a little house appeared over our address and stayed. Theo saw it and laughed with his eyes closed, which is where hope lives in this apartment. Last night at 8:07 he set his palm where it belongs and my lungs obeyed like proud employees. The city tried to narrate and failed. At 8:12 we inventoried. At 8:20 the glasses performed their small hymn. We failed a little at decency, and the window forgave us by being glass. Tonight at 7:58 I'll set my phone face down like manners are still a technology worth installing. At 8:07 his palm will find the square behind my heart and the tape will remember why it was hired. If we miss, we'll do the only miracle repetition has ever made plausible. Try again. 8:17 10:10 11:11 whenever mercy clocks in. Somewhere a driver is dropping off the wrong two names. Our door knows our knock. It keeps opening when we ask it to.